So this overall video is about making keychains on your CO2 laser, your K40. But I wanted to mention, since I have a diode laser, there are great reasons to use either one. And I would say my number one favorite thing is to make on the diode laser is leather. And a lot of these keychains can be made out of leather. And what I would suggest, if you're just getting started, whether you're working with a CO2 laser or a diode laser, is it's really easy to go to Etsy and find, just look at this bundle. You get all of these things for, don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, get something here, practice on it, learn how your machine works, what it can do, what it can cut, how it engraves. You could make a full-time business just making keychains. It won't cost you so much to make them. It's high value for a low amount of money. And if you make mistakes, they're not going to, it's not like you're doing a 6-layer design where if you make a mistake, you just went through, $20, $30 worth of wood. So there's so many great reasons to start with keychains. But if you have a diode laser, a lot of these keychains, you're going to want to use acrylic. And just don't do it. Having a K40 is so wonderful for making keychains. It's so nice that I have both because I'm able to do either, whichever makes more sense. So if I'm doing leather, I'm probably doing it on my diode laser. I really, really love the way that it comes out. If I'm doing wood, more likely I'm using the CO2 just because it cuts so much easier for, say, an 1/8-inch hardwood or, a 1/4-inch hardwood, because you're probably not going to be using pine if you're trying to make keychains. You want something that's going to hold up in people's pockets. So you can get these huge bundles, pick whatever it is makes sense for you. It may seem like a lot of people buy this stuff, but almost, be honest, have you ever seen this before if you weren't in lasers? So most of these ideas just don't reinvent the wheel. And then once you get really good at it, you can completely customize any of these. You've already got sort of a basic. I mean, look at here, leather keychains bundle. I've got a lot of these things before, and I use them today. I just remake them into whatever I want. But when you first get started, having something already done that you can test your laser on, just do it. But today specifically, we're talking about the Monport K40, Monport in particular because it already has light burn compatibility, which if you're going to be doing a lot of lasers, especially like business or whatever, like I am, being able to use light burn is just so much better. And I can switch between my Monport and my LaserMaster 3 or whatever else I'm using very easily. And so today I just wanted to make a bunch of acrylic keychains. And so I would say after you get your K40 sorted out, and I've kind of gone through that in a past video, no matter which laser you're buying on the lower end, I'd say anything below $1,500, it may or may not be perfect when you get it. It may take a little bit of working, which can be a lot of fun, can be a little frustrating, but it really helps you get to understand your machine and how it works. So I think it's a net positive, especially if you fall in love with lasers the way that I have. But if you've only got a diode, you may miss doing this acrylic, and they really do make wonderful keychains. This exact keychain has been in my partner's wallet for 2 years now and is holding up perfectly. It still looks great. So I that's one reason why acrylic is so nice, just because not only does it look good, it holds up really well. So I did make one test already to make sure everything was cutting through. And so now I am ready to make a bunch. So I've got the camera set up. Hold on a second. Now I can make more than just 6 or 8 of these at a time on my Monport. But right now, just for this video, I'm going to go ahead and make 5 more. So just go hit the start button and boom, it begins. Acrylic does have an interesting smell. Of course, more chemical-like. Like if you're doing leather can be very, well, it's fleshy smell. And some people, that could really, really freak them out. Whereas acrylic has a very chemical smell, which could freak other people out. So it's nice that I've got mine outside, but just so you know, if you're running wood, the smell is smoky, but it doesn't really have a pungent smell or anything that you're going to be like, oh, I really would rather not have that around. But using leather or acrylic may be something different entirely. So make sure you have good ventilation. I mean, you always want to do that anyways. Another thing that I find helpful with acrylic, if you're seeing any sort of like burning on the backside or it's not perfect, something you may look at is raising it just a touch. I find that if I put some magnets underneath, I can raise it just a touch, and it keeps it from burning on the backside. Because what I think is happening is hitting the honeycomb bed or whatever bed you have, and then bouncing back up and hitting the acrylic. So that's something that's helped me. But overall, it hasn't been difficult. Make sure that, depending on how it's cutting for you, make sure that you actually have the inside holes cut out first. So I don't have that right here. This should probably be moved up. Mine has the paper on it, so it's probably going to hold out just fine. But if you cut out the outside, it may fall down, and then try and cut this inside, and then it's going to be off. So you don't want that. And as you can see, they all turned out pretty good. Very, very, very clean cuts. The K40 just annihilates acrylic in such a perfect way that you literally could make thousands of these probably in a day. It's pretty consistent once you really get this thing tuned in to where you could run a business making keychains from a K40. And so for less than $1,000, all in from all the stuff that I put together, including the light burn, I have a machine that I would be happy to make a business out of, making keychains and any other small thing like refrigerator magnets or something like that. And just a little tip for the people who have stayed with this video till the end. Acrylic is not expensive. Well, it can be depending on where you live. I mean, if you've got to order it from Amazon, sure, it can get expensive. But if you have a local plastics manufacturer or a reseller, I'm not talking about Tap Plastics or some to the public sort of place. I'm talking about the ones who sell big sheets of acrylic. A lot of times they're going to have scraps that they just want to get rid of. I can't tell you how many tens of thousands of dollars of free acrylic I have gotten from these different places. Often if you go to their sales office, they're just going to have maybe, 50 little small sheets that they just want to get rid of. So work with your local plastics manufacturers. Go around to see what you can do. Say, hey, I'm just trying new projects. And eventually, hey, you might be a customer of theirs when it comes time that you're going to want full sheets. And you're not going to want to mess around with small things because you're going to make thousands of these at a time. This particular model, this little corgi, I have sold well over 1,000 of these at $5 a piece. And, you know, they're super easy, super cheap. And I've never done a yellow one before. This is the first time. I'm not sure that I'm going to stay with that. The pink ones and the wooden ones I've done, never done one in leather. But sometimes you just come across a design and it just works for you and it sells really well. And you just run with that. And so that it's better, maybe you get a big sheet and just make 1,000 of them. But again, just a little informal video about acrylic and K40 and how you could actually make a living doing acrylic keychains. All right. That's it for this one. I will see you in the next one.